This is Robert Marglanchi, the MindShare Learning Report, Canada's Learning and Technology e-magazine. And welcome to This Week in Canadian EdTech, MindShareTV, unboxing Moozoom. Teach, sell in 10 minutes a day with bite-sized movies. No training, no prep time. And joining me today is JP Turgeon, the CEO and founder of Moozoom. Thank you, out of Montreal. Thank you for joining me today, JP.
Thank you, Robert, for inviting me.
A little bit about JP. Jean-Philippe Turgeon is the CEO and founder of Moozoom, a digital platform for having its mission to make social and emotional learning accessible in every classroom without adding extra work to teachers and students, which is well appreciated given their challenge on time these days. Launched in Quebec elementary schools and is expanding in the US and English Canada for September of 2023 and beyond. You're currently in expansion mode. Prior to founding Moozoom, Jean-Philippe was a senior partner at the law firm Lavery and recognized by his peers as one of the top franchise lawyers in Canada. Wow, that's an impressive pivot you made, Jean-Philippe, JP. Talk to me about the inspiration for Moozoom.
Yeah, so like you said, I spent most of my life working as a lawyer. But in 2018, 2019, my daughter tried to commit suicide twice. And
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, thank you. That's okay. And she's going much better now, but she's been suffering from mental illness at least since she's 10, 11 years old. And by the time that she was 18, it came to its worst. But this has been a wake up call for me as a parent, but also a wake up call for me to do something about it. Because if my daughter ended up struggling with mental health issues like she did, many other kids her age were struggling as well. So I decided to put together a team that would find out what's not working when it comes to prevent these challenges to happen from a very young age. And this is when we realized that if we could make social emotional learning more easy for teacher and more engaging, there would be a much better chance that it would be less daunting for them to implement it in the classroom, and not be in competition with the core curriculum subject.
Well, kudos to you for the inspiration, sharing the inspiration, and showing your vulnerability and why you want to pursue this startup, because I always ask the question, and it's very authentic. It's from the heart, and the courage that you showed in doing this is very admirable. And this was something pre-COVID, and COVID has been an accelerator of sorts because of the anxiety that was created around dealing with just life in general for our youth in schools. And school was one of the connections. Online learning wasn't elegant, but it was in a crisis, and you helped support that.
Yeah, and Robert, I mean, kids' anxiety and depression have been rising for decades, right? It's not something new. It's something that we've been trying to solve for a long time, but COVID just made it a global crisis. And
Right.
And as schools and districts are making student mental and emotional wellness an absolute priority now, they're still facing a major challenge. Teachers are overwhelmed,
and
they're even more overwhelmed.
It's been exasperated, and it's still a crisis from your perspective.
Oh, it is still a crisis, and it's not going for the best, because it's a vicious circle. As students are not doing well, teachers and teachers are human beings as well, right? And they're facing their own social emotional challenges. So facing more kids struggling with behavioral and anxiety in the classroom. It affects, classroom management has been even more a challenge now. If you ask teachers what would you like to improve or have a magic wish in your classroom, would be improving classroom management or find tools that will help me with classroom management. So and this is where the journey of Moozoom all begin, is that if we, knowing that anything that's falling out of their core curriculum subject, are perceived by teachers as additional work, um, SCL programs are left behind, and preventing students to learn life-changing skills. This is exactly what Moozoom is solving.
Well, and self learning is important. To layer something else on to a teacher's plate is, they're at a breaking point as it is. So kudos to you for having that concept of, self learning and visually through video clips. And talk to me about, and we're going to flow into this unboxing in a moment, but the importance of parental engagement and being in tune with your child.
Yeah. So and that's the old that's a very good point, right? In being able to involve parents in those learning is, as long as it start by the school, but I mean, as faster we can get teachers, school working with parents, with and call it family engagement, faster kids will develop and be able to integrate those skills in their day-to-day life. So what we've created is, first of all, solving the problem is why is it that teachers are kind of not buying into SEL? It's because it takes too much of their time. So we created something that is ready to use, no prior training, doesn't require no expertise, requires little to no lesson planning. And the way we do that is we created a choose your own adventure, a movie lesson library where a student can
It's a good
observe.
segue to your website here. So I
Yeah,
brought it
yeah,
up for you.
yeah.
And
So
I love the notion of family engagement. I've not come across that term. I've heard parental, but really it does take a village. And I like the notion of family engagement. So thank you for getting that on the radar.
yeah, and this is where I was heading, because being able to our platform, the way we're transforming or being a game changer in the industry, it's is being providing a platform that is student led, as opposed to all the other programs that are teacher led. So teacher led means a lot of
Brilliant.
it's yeah, a lot of lesson planning. It means that it's daunting for teachers. They don't have the expertise. Lesson planning is getting kids, see other kids their age dealing with the same challenges as they deal every day, and see them deciding of what option is best to solve those problems. And the link with the family engagement is because these videos are real life choose your own adventure videos, that kids can do standalone. It can be done in a large group or standalone, but um, it's easy to bring it back at home, right? And do this with the parents. And as you know, I mean, at my age, and probably most of the parents that from kids that are still at school, or probably my age or a little younger, we didn't have these learning when we were young. So having the chance to discover that, explore those learnings with our kids, not only we learn as an adult, but I mean, this is so powerful when it comes to be able to try implement those learning at home. So this is Moozoom allows that very easily because of the format and the kind of content oriented.
Right. So let's take us through a test drive and show us
Yeah.
what it's all about. But before you do that, I'm sure a few of our viewers are wondering about the branding. I'm always curious about branding. It's one of my keen interests in EdTech.
Oh my gosh. Where Moozoom comes from. Yeah, I mean, I think we were So that goes back in 2019. Just we launched in 2020. In 2019, we just wanted to get a name that, first of all, a name that was cool for kids to say, right? So when they go
Right.
Moozoom, it's every kid's like saying Moozoom. We didn't want anything descriptive, but we wanted to go at a second level, third level type of branding. So Moozoom is a palindrome. So it's Zoom, you know, it's written Zoom both ways. And that refers to our restorative practice embedded in the platform, which is zoom out, take a step back,
Cool.
think of what happened, and after you calm down and you have better clarity, more distance to the problem, then zoom in. Think about what the solution could be, and after, when you've done that, then you can act. So this is incorporated in our platform, and it's replicated in our in
And
our
as you're
name.
demoing, I'm going to ask, thank you for that. Our viewers could feel free to ask a question, and we have our team that's following, and will pose any questions that might arise from our viewers that on our live show today, Unboxing EdTech
Okay.
TV.
So if you want me, if I'm sharing my screen right now, you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So basically, so this is the teacher view. So when a teacher comes on the platform, they have different teams. Each team has a different number of video lesson, and as they choose a video lesson, they start the video. I will not start a video unless we have time to do that. But there's they can choose. They can start watching the video. They do the activity with the students, and after that, all the follow-up activities are lined up, whether it's a discussion guide for the teacher, the journal, and the quizzes for the students that will allow to kind of consolidate the learnings. And there's multiple other additional resources for the teachers, for the parents, so that we make it as easy as possible. When you get on the My Student page, this is where a teacher can see all of his student lined up, his class. And if you click on a particular student, and this is one of the uh, most wonderful feature of the platform, is each time a student log in, where we ask him how does he feel, and this information is reported to the teacher. Depending of the setup, it can be also copied to a school counselor. So it gives you, it's a mood board that gives you an information about what is how your student feels, and if you can see pattern. Let's say a kid is showing 5 or 6 difficult emotion day after day, it might require probably an intervention, not probably, certainly an intervention with a school counselor or even with the teacher, and try to find out. So this is really, really appreciated.
And that alone is really powerful, because having a sense of where their minds are at in this complex world we live, it's a teacher's role to really, if you want to bring the best out in your student, you need to know where they're at and what they're thinking, right? and,
Absolutely.
and no different than our kids, right?
Absolutely.
It's so kudos to you for that really valuable and powerful feature that you've embedded.
Yeah, thank you. And then here they can see, what activity completed. They can access the activities if they want, right? By clicking on the quiz, they see all the answers. We have a full Zen Zone section, which provide, mindfulness videos and separate audios. There's, a lot more videos here. So it is really everything that teachers would need to teach effective student wellness or social emotional learning, depending on how you want to call it. And after that, they have a complete dashboard that can be used at the teacher level, or the district, the school board level, district level, whether in Canada and the US. And you see the utilization per teacher, per student, per group, per school, per district, you can see their quiz performance and per CASEL competencies. We're using the CASEL frameworks as a reference for the backbone of our pedagogical alignment. And there's also a pre and post survey embedded in the platform that normally you would have to pay another third party to do that. With Moozoom, you at the beginning of the year, you get this survey completed by your student. It gives you a baseline of their skill competency, and at the end of the year, you're able to see what have been their improvement. This one, it wasn't completed in that test demo account, but you can imagine what it looks like when it's full setup. So I mean, and in a nutshell, this is what our platform is, right? And
Amazing. I
yeah.
love the simplicity. It's not rocket science.
Oh, I mean, that's it, right? I mean, of course, if we do a demo, we go deeper in
Right.
in the scope and sequence and how this is being rolled out in a school. But I mean, if a kids want to go and play around it, it's very easy, and that's the key, right? Making it. We're not going to create more time for teachers. Okay, this is the education system is like that. We will prioritize the core curriculum, and at some point, that's the reality we have to deal with it. So we're not going to create more time, but we can create tools that will help them incorporate those learning in their already existing routine and not adding more work to them. And this is our bet. This is our bet of how we're going to transform social emotional learning across the world, and it's well started.
And talk to me about your research and what inspired the design thinking, and what's the feedback been like? You've got massive market share in Quebec, around 50%.
Yeah.
And uh, again, I'm so impressed with the pivot you made as a lawyer to become an entrepreneur and socialpreneur, if you edupreneur. Really, it's a different mindset than being a pure entrepreneur, because you want to make an impact. Like, that's the beauty of what you're doing, and I really value your passion in making an impact on the lives of students and teachers, for that matter. What's the feedback been like?
The feedback, is amazing. The feedback, first of all, I mean, admins told us we've been a game changer for them in their school, because for the first time, they don't feel like they need to push down something to their teachers that they don't want to do. Social emotional learning became something that is easy for them to teach and fun for kids to learn, right? So this is a major game changer for district. In terms of, I was in the US last week, and I met with a school district that is using our product, and talking with a little girl, fourth grader. She told me, "Sir," I said, she said, "Since I use Moozoom, my anxiety. I mean, it's not exactly in those words, but I'm sure you can imagine what how it sounded like." But she said, "My anxiety, reduced, and I have better relationship with my friends." So, and I asked her, "Why is it like that? How Moozoom help you doing that?" And she said, I don't know. It's just that last year we were having, we started doing a program, and then we stopped doing it after 3 weeks. And then it's the first time that we've been doing this for the full year. And, it's, I mean, we're just doing it more. So, and that is exactly why I'm waking up in the morning, because we're fighting. The problem is not the quality of the programs, it's the accessibility, and
Mhm.
if we make these learning accessible for teachers and kids, this is where everything starts. This is where you're going to see in 10 years from now, even before that. But when those kids are 5, when they're going to be 15, you will have they will have learn and develop a set of skills that my daughter didn't have. Okay, that will help them when they're facing a challenge. Instead of having a personality that will go directly in the drama and taking quick decision on based on immediate emotion that they don't fully understand. They will be able to take a step back and just learn that with the different skills that would have been providing through social emotional learning, that there's different options to a challenge, and it doesn't have to be catastrophic. And by being able to teach kids how to take a step back and learn how to cope, take better decision, build better relationships. Not only is going to have an impact on the performance at school because they're going to be more ready to learn, but we're going to reduce so much of those mental health challenges that affect adolescents and that are really
Absolutely.
problematic.
And how important is it? I mean, you're describing life skills. I mean, so there's gaps between the system at home in the whole child learning
Yeah.
process. And you're filling a very large gap around social emotional learning. What are some tips? Can you share some tips on, like, one of the things I do and I like to do with my family is get outdoors and go outside for a walk with our dog, and play. Play is so important as part of well-being, isn't it?
I mean, there's so. And I'm gonna talk about. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm nowhere near, um, being able to give tips on that aspect. Beside that, I've worked so close to the product that I know a little bit. But um, I would say that being able to connect, allow, give space to what you're going through, not sometimes ego or everything that we don't want to see because it hurts.
Hmm.
This is what's killing us, right? So allowing some space to sadness, to angriness, and by making that space, just see what's coming up and accept to live with that. And it's all about, it's taking a step back and you know understanding your emotions. That will make that's the first step, I guess, that every human being should be taking while going through a difficult situation. After that, when you went through that and you're more calm, this is when you can say, you know what, this walk with my dog will help me,
Hmm.
or I'm going to call a friend because I need to talk to a friend. And so sometimes those decisions are hard to do when you're in when you're
In the moment.
submerged. Exactly.
Yeah. And
And this is
taking
where you
yourself
want to.
outside of the situation and having some
Exactly.
quiet time and reflect. And really it's about, self actualization and understanding who you are as a person. And
Yeah, and there's this other thing with, if we talk about more kids today that are really affected by social media.
I was going to mention
um,
social media and how to tackle that challenge.
yeah, so I mean, it comes. What we're doing, it's very simple, right? This is something that we all know that we have not been practicing to do because it's where to start. Who has the expertise to show you those things, right? A psychologist, it's not accessible. Kid teacher don't have this expertise. So once you start putting in place those things, this is where things, learning of what's the possibilities, that this is where things start to be different. And where I was going with this is that many of us needs the validation of the outside to be happy, right? for some reason we don't love ourselves enough. We need our we need other people to love
Right.
us so that we can love us. And this lasts very few minutes. So the thing with social media, this is exactly like that. This is immediate validation or unvalidation. And this is whether validation, unvalidation, which is very, you know, a short in time, um, create a lots of challenges for students those days. And so I would say with social media, I don't have any tip for social media, but it comes at the same thing, right? It's being able to self-reflect and understanding if something happened on social media that is affecting you. Try to think, where is this coming from? What does it mean on you? And why are you reacting like that? And just those little learning will help kids just to kind of realize that finally, I mean, maybe that I don't need that validation that much, right? I'd like, I should start by validate myself first.
Right. And there's that peer group pressure and, managing your digital footprint. I know media literacy and digital citizenship is very much taught in schools today, and being mindful of what you're putting out there, because if you can really expose yourself in some negative ways, and there's consequences, right? So anticipating and I think part of my philosophy has been growing up, treating people with mutual respect, right? Treating people
Exactly.
with and developing that resiliency that we've all been bullied at times, and it happens, but dealing with things in a positive way and having a network of people you can rely on, and communicating how you feel as you provide that
Exactly.
vehicle in your platform. So coming back to your platform, share a success story with us perhaps, um, and how paint a picture for teachers and students and what they
Yeah.
learn.
And by the way, right? I'm thinking, I'm mirroring my team right now. Here, um, hearing me get kind of position on not on the pedagogy side, but the psychology side. So we have such a great team of specialists that think exactly on how to make it, all those learning that we're talking before, and how can help kids, overcome those challenges. Our platform has been designed in terms of, make this accessible very rapidly. So in terms of success stories, yeah, I mean, the one I told you before, with the fourth grader that was one, um,
Right.
we had, we had recently, a district that, mentioned that they're, in very short period of time, right? It was, in February, start using Moozoom in September, and they've seen a significant improvement in their school climate and the reduction of conflicts at recess and at school overall. And that was directly associated to Moozoom. For and again, for the same reason, it's being accessible. It's being done by teachers. So if you have only one counselor doing at the school level, it will not have the impact that if all teachers are buying in. So I would say that this is a great success story for us to see how quick the impact can be if you have a tool that everybody buying to at the school level.
And it's, thank you for that, and it's about impact,
Yeah,
and it's an investment in the future of learning. If the kids mindset is in the right frame of mind, if you will, to learn, they'll be that much more successful instead of being stressed and anxious, and dealing with distractions in their lives that could be helped managed through platforms like Moozoom and family engagement. right? And teacher engagement. I like to say it takes a digital village to raise a child in the 21st century, and you're living that moniker, JP, with Moozoom, and kudos to
Thank
you
you.
for having created this innovation. And talk to us about how teachers or administrators or parents, for that matter, could learn more about Moozoom.
Yeah, so I mean, they can come on our platform first of all, and the best way to discover Moozoom is to share Moozoom um, with their teachers. We have a free, um, you know, we have a lot of free content on the platform, so any teacher can come and try Moozoom for free with different type of videos. If they want to explore how it could be a game changer for their school, they can go on our platform and talk to us by booking a call, and it will be a pleasure for us to take 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes to just explain to them how it can be rolled out in their schools. Yeah, I mean, this is really straightforward, right? It's just we're making it happen. That's what we do. We're making it happen.
Well, and that's the key in any platform. And congratulations, you're doing a pitch competition that you were selected in. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm doing. Yeah, so Moozoom was selected. There's four other participants. So, for a venture capital, pitch competition in the U.S. So, of course, it's online. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. Right? It's kind of it's that's the other part of the entrepreneur, right? We're being able to build a product like that and continue to accelerate. We need funds, and we need to find great partners. So that, I guess, I'm excited that to get this visibility and being able to find partners that will help us continue our trajectory. We have great ambition. We have really great ambition.
Well, with that, JP, thank you so much for all that you do and your passion and making an impact on the lives of students through Moozoom.
Thank you so much, Robert.
That was JP Turgeon, the CEO and founder of Moozoom. My name is Robert Merdlanchi, the Mindshare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www.mindshare learning to get your latest issue. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.